You always own the option of having no opinion. Marcus Aurelius. Here's the hook, my friends. For the next 30 days, your attention is going into escrow. No likes, no views, no replies. Scarcity will recalculate your value, and you won't have to say a single word. Hey folks, imagine this. You run a water tap in your kitchen. It's been on for months. Drip, drip, drip. So constant you barely hear it anymore. One day you turn the tap off. The quiet is shocking. That's what happens when you stop pouring your attention into people and places that never earned it. Silence becomes a sound they cannot ignore. Think of your attention like a bank vault with a heavy door. For too long, you left it cracked open. Anyone could wander in, take a little, and leave you with less. Today, we spin the wheel, lock it tight, and post a new policy on the door. Entry by appointment only. You've been fed lies. If you don't respond, they'll forget you. Lie. What's abundant becomes invisible. What's scarce becomes priceless. If you don't like their post, they'll think you don't care. Another lie. Genuine care is shown in presence and standards, not in heart-shaped taps. If you don't engage, you'll look weak. No, reactivity is a weakness. Restraint is strength. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." For 30 days we become masters. Picture this, my friends. You're a lighthouse on a rough coast. Ships blast horns. Waves scream for attention. The lighthouse never shouts back. It doesn't chase boats. It stands, strong and bright, and the whole sea recalibrates around it. That's you, fixed, calm, useful to those who respect your light, unavailable to storms looking for drama. Or imagine a fisherman who stops throwing bait into the water. The fish circle, then wander off. But when the bait returns, it's measured, timed, intentional. That's re-entry on your terms. Let's add a little humor, because growth doesn't have to be grim. You know that moment when you accidentally watch their story, then pretend your thumb slipped like a banana peel fell out of the sky. Yeah, we've all been there. For the next 30 days, thumbs are on probation. No banana peels, no oops, just discipline. Here's the eye-opener. The world reads your attention like a price tag. When you hand it out for free, people assume it has no cost. When you guard it, they start counting their coins. Dark psychology calls this loss aversion. People feel the pain of losing access more than the pleasure of having it. Stoicism just calls it wisdom. We stop leaking energy and invest it. Training, work, sleep, clean food, clean mind, clean circle. Your life becomes signal, not static. You don't need a speech, you need a switch. Off for 30 days. No likes, no views, no replies. Not as punishment, as policy. If something truly urgent comes through, you'll handle it clean and brief, not emotional and endless. The rest? Silence. Let the quiet do the talking. Let comparison write the story. Let absence hold the mirror. While others refresh, you will rebuild. While others chase, you will choose. While others test you, you will not flinch. Write this on your wall. My attention is not a tip jar. It is earned by respect, consistency, and truth. And here's one more line for your heart. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. That's Marcus again. We don't play the game. We change the rules. Now take a breath, shoulders back, jaw unclench. This is the day your value gets recalculated by silence, by scarcity, by standards. Type your affirmation in the comments, then press like and subscribe if you're in. 3 words, my friends. I protect attention. Stay with me. Number 1, attention is policy, not emotion. Discipline equals freedom. My friends, that's not a gym poster, it's a blueprint. The moment your attention stops being a mood and becomes a policy, your life stops leaking power. Today we make it simple, hard, and clean. No likes, no views, no replies, not as punishment, but as governance. Your energy gets a constitution. Picture this, folks. You're an airport runway at night. For months, the landing lights have been blazing. Touchdowns, takeoffs, chaos. No flight plans, no control. Tonight, the tower goes strict. Lights only by clearance. Silence returns. That's what happens when you escrow your attention. Scarcity forces both sides to recalculate what you give and what they think they're owed. Here's the hard truth. They didn't devalue you. Unlimited availability did. You trained people to expect instant access, trained algorithms to feed you their breadcrumbs, trained your nervous system to chase red dots like oxygen. Then you wondered why you felt breathless. You're not addicted to them. You're in debt, and debt charges interest, lost time, fractured focus, shallow sleep. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery begins where the thumb stops. Think of your attention like high voltage. You wouldn't leave live wires loose on the floor, yet emotionally that's what's been happening. DMs dangling, stories open, heart reacts on standby, zap, 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 until you're fried and they're fed. From today, flip the breaker. Root power into what actually builds you. Your body, your craft, your faith, your money, your sleep, your circle. Stop lighting up their world. Light up your own. Night questions will come. What if they forget me? What if they think I don't care? What if they move on? Folks, what's cheap is forgettable. What's scarce is unforgettable. People remember what they must earn. If the deeper fear is, without their attention, am I still worthy? Good. You've found the real battle. We're not fighting them. We're freeing you from dependency. Let's break the lies. Lie 1. Engagement equals connection. Engagement is a button. Connection is behavior. If their character doesn't show in real life, a heart icon is confetti. Lie 2. Silence is petty. Silence is a boundary that keeps dignity in and drama out. Marcus Aurelius. You always own the option of having no opinion. For 30 days you exercise that option with calm. Lie 3. Not replying looks weak. Weakness is begging for clarity from people who benefit from your confusion. Strength is choosing clarity within yourself and letting the questions echo without you. Why is this hard? Because your brain's been nibbling micro-hits, views, seen, pings, phantom vibrations, crumbs masquerading as meals. Nothing meaningful happened. You didn't heal, grow, or ship your work. You just fed the loop. Loops, love-hungry minds. The urge whispers, just check once. The heart pleads, show I still care. The body leans forward and the soul shrinks. Not today. Starve the loop. Feed your life. Imagine a theater. Weeks of chatter and random walk-ons made the audience numb. Then, curtains closed, room dark. Every eye waits. That's your silence. Darkness isn't empty. It's preparation. When your attention disappears, their mind scrambles. Where did it go? Who has it? Why can't I reach it? That isn't manipulation. That's how value works. The rare becomes revered. Worried, they'll think you're angry. You don't owe mood explanations. Policy doesn't argue. It applies. Set focus mode. Mute their stories. Hide their posts. Remove chat pins. Turn off active status. If a mutual accidentally brings them up, smile and pivot. Your attention isn't a democracy. It's stewardship. A little fun because discipline doesn't forbid humor. The infamous thumb slip on their story, as if gravity hijacked your finger like a rogue spaghetti noodle. We retired the noodles. The thumb goes to boot camp. Urge hits. 20 push-ups, a 90-second wall sit, 10 deep breaths, or write one line. I fund my future, not my triggers. Give your body a job and your mind a sentence. The urge will pass. Expect tests. Hey stranger, you forgot my birthday. Sub-tweets aimed at your soul. Tests fail against policy. If it isn't logistics, it's silence. If it is logistics, it's short, neutral, scheduled. No emojis, no questions, no explanations. Clarity reduces the need to explain. Why do they think a ping can reel you back? Because the old you taught them access was free, reactions were instant, and even disrespect purchased a response. Don't hate the old you, thank them for surviving. Then upgrade. People treat you at the level you treat your attention. When you put attention in escrow, you send a memo to your soul. I will not discount myself to make anyone else feel wealthy. Another metaphor. You're a rare book in a quiet library. For months it lay on a table, dog-eared, coffee-stained, thumbed by anyone. Today it returns to the glass case, not because it's arrogant, but because it's precious. Still readable, by appointment, with gloves, with care. That isn't snobbery, that's self-respect. Choose sovereignty over stimulus, presence over pings, the long game over the itch. Week 1 will feel loud inside. Good, that's the loop dying. Week 2 will feel quiet outside. Even better, that's value recalibrating. Weeks 3 and 4 will feel like control. The thing you wanted from them finally returning to you, from you. We'll build the rest together. How to turn silence into signal, how to hold frame when provoked, how to re-enter on day 31 with clean standards. For now, plant your flag. Your attention stops being a tip jar and becomes a ticketed event. If they want a seat, they bring respect, consistency and truth. Otherwise, the theater is closed. End strong. Drop your affirmation to lock it in. No extra fluff. Guard my attention. Show them, show yourself, show the world. Stay with me. Next, we make your silence impossible to ignore. Number 2, silence as signal. You always own the option of having no opinion. Marcus Aurelius. My friends, that isn't an escape hatch. It's a lever. When they push, you don't have to pull. When they send bait, you don't have to bite. Silence is not the absence of communication, it's the most disciplined form of it. In a world drunk on reaction, restraint is fluent. And here's the hard truth they won't tell you. Most people aren't listening to understand. You've learned that the loud way. They're listening to confirm a story where your attention is guaranteed. When the story fails because you stop feeding it, the plot changes. Scarcity starts doing the writing for you. Picture a stadium after the final whistle. For hours it was chaos, chants, whistles, vendors, 1,000 voices trying to be the loudest. Then the lights dim, the seats empty, and there's this huge, holy quiet. You can hear your own footsteps. That's your silence after a season of endless replies. You've turned off the floodlights of your availability, and now footsteps, if any, must be intentional. Silence doesn't punish, it purifies. It takes the static out of the air, so real signals have a path. They don't get to read your mood anymore through a heart icon, a quick scene, or a late-night essay. They have to sit with the blank page you leave, and blank pages make people tell themselves the truth. Ask the questions you'd normally avoid at 2 a.m. Why do I feel obligated to react to every ping? Why do I believe a view equals care? Who taught me that attention must be proved with instant response? Folks, these aren't harmless habits, they're leashes, and silence is the cut. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery here means you pick the channel, the cadence, and the content of your energy. Your silence is a boundary, not a tantrum. It says, "My peace is not a public forum." They may call it cold. Let them mislabel what they don't understand. Silence isn't cold, it's calibrated. A surgeon's hand is quiet before the cut. A chess grandmaster often wins by not moving too soon. A lighthouse keeps steady and lets the fog reveal who is steering and who is drifting. That's you now. Steady, consistent, unconcerned with the noise. And yes, there will be noise. Indirect stories, nostalgic songs aimed at your ribs, accidental mentions through mutuals, a "hope you're well" that really means prove you still care. The old you would have flinched. The present you remember, you are not an emergency service for other people's boredom. Silence is your operating procedure. Here's what makes silence so powerful in dark psychology terms. The brain is addicted to feedback loops. Action seeks response. Ping expects pong. When there is no pong, the brain doesn't rest. It invents. It fills the gap with questions, then with meaning, then with weight. Why no reply? Why no view? Have I lost access? Were they always this strong? That's the recalibration you could never force with a paragraph. Your silence is the math problem they must now solve. If access is not automatic, what must be offered besides appetite? Consistency, respect, truth. Those are the actual currencies. Without them, there is no transaction. Let's address the hardest part. The first week of silence feels like withdrawal, phantom vibrations, reflex reaches, the thumb drifting like it has its own nervous system. You'll feel a pull to just check, to keep it civil, to show maturity by responding. Folks, maturity isn't answering everything. It's answering what deserves you. You don't owe your presence to proximity. You owe your presence to purpose. So you give your body a job when the urge hits. Breathe deep, move weight, write a line. I budget attention like money. You give your mind a sentence, not urgent, not mine. And you let the moment pass like the weather. Weather passes. Another picture, a recording studio with a red light that reads on air. When that light glows, everyone knows. Hush, respect the signal, don't cough, don't tap. In your life, silence turns on that red light. You are live with your goals, your training, your work. Random pings are background noise. If they want a place in the mix, they'll learn timing. They'll learn to bring substance over spectacle. And if they don't, the light stays on and the door stays closed. Not because you're bitter, but because you are finally producing a life worth listening to. They might argue that silence is manipulation. No, manipulation is saying one thing and doing another. Your silence is profoundly honest. It says nothing you don't mean and promises nothing you won't keep. It removes the lie that access can be bought with pressure. It removes the lie that your heart is a vending machine where the right buttons get the old you back. If anything, silence is the end of manipulation, the end of pleasing, proving, explaining, the end of oversharing as a way to earn safety. You stop negotiating your worth in the court of their attention and begin investing it in the home of your discipline. You'll also discover something unexpected. Silence cleans the mirror. Without the back and forth, you'll see your patterns clearer. Who you chased, why you chased, what you feared would happen if you stopped. That clarity stings, then soothes. You realize you were never chasing them. You were chasing the version of you that felt powerful when they responded. That version was an illusion because power built on someone else's reply is alone with nasty terms. Return it. Build equity in yourself. Quiet mornings, honest work, sweat that means something, friends who sharpen your mind instead of snacking on your time. Let's keep it real and a little light. The legendary "oops, my thumb slipped" defense. Retire it. Fingers don't slip 6 times at 1:13 a.m. That's not gravity, that's habit wearing a costume. You're smarter than your costume. Take it off. Put the phone on the shelf, face down, focus mode on. Give your attention fewer doors to sprint through, and it will learn to sit like a trained animal, calm, present, loyal to you first. If you hold this line, silence becomes a reputation. People stop testing you with crumbs because crumbs never earn a seat at your table. They either come correct with consistency or they don't come at all. Both outcomes are a win, respect or peace. That's the math, that's the policy, that's the power. End this section the way you intend to live. Simple, strong, unbothered. Type your affirmation to lock it in. Guard my silence. Stay with me. Next, we'll turn provocations into practice and show you how to hold frames when they poke the glass. Number 3. Provocations and tests. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius. My friends, that line is steel. It means you don't owe the world your reaction just because the world rattles your door. The moment you escrow your attention, they test the lock. A hey stranger, a miss your face, a you forgot my birthday, a song lyric booby-trapped for your eyes, mutuals accidentally dropping your name. These aren't coincidences, they're probes. In dark psych terms, a system under stress seeks its old equilibrium. Your silence is the new rule. Their provocations are the test. Pass the test, and the rule becomes law. Picture an aquarium in a quiet museum. Kids rush up and tap the glass to make the fish move. Mature fish don't sprint for every tap. They conserve energy, glide, and stay sovereign in their water. You are that calm now. Taps will come. Your job is not to thrash. Your job is to hold the water still so the tap loses its thrill. Or think of a matador with a cape. He doesn't meet the bull horn for horn. He steps aside and lets momentum defeat itself. That's what a non-reply does. It refuses the collision the other person is trying to create, and it lets their own force exhaust them. Let's name the fears that surface when they poke. If I don't answer, I'll look bitter. If I don't acknowledge, I'll lose them forever. If I don't defend myself, they'll control the narrative. Folks, bitterness talks. Composure doesn't. If silence reads as bitterness to them, that's their story, not your truth. As for losing them forever, you are not losing what refuses to earn you. And narratives? Narratives run on attention. Don't fuel a story that doesn't pay you back in peace, respect, or reality. Epictetus said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most provocations are invitations to suffer in imagination. Decline the invitation. They will escalate when subtle fails. A neutral check-in becomes an urgent, "we need to talk." A vague post becomes a precise trigger. An oops view on your profile becomes a string of accidental sightings. Notice the pattern without entering it. The old you would have rushed in to cool their anxiety and prove you're not mad. The upgrade cooling someone else's anxiety with your attention is the most expensive favor you can give, and it charges compound interest on your focus later. You owe yourself a clean mind more than you owe anyone a quick reply. Here's a frame that saves lives. Not every ping is a problem to solve. Some pings are just weather. Let the weather pass. When they lob a half-joke that stings, you don't need to volley back with a thesis. When they nudge, "So you're ignoring me now?" You don't need to defend the boundary that protects your sanity. Boundaries you defend endlessly are boundaries you don't believe yet. Believe them in silence. A lighthouse doesn't flip on and off because a storm has opinions. It stays lit, steady, predictable. The sea will come to terms with that light or it won't. Either way, the lighthouse keeps its post. But what if a true logistical issue appears in the testing window? The rule still stands. Your life remains policy-driven, not emotion-driven. You breathe, you wait, you reply only if it's necessary, and only with what is necessary. You don't import old dynamics into clean logistics. You don't give emojis to ambiguity. You don't lace clarity with nostalgia. You answer like a professional writes an invoice, brief, accurate, and finished. You are not cold, you are clear. And clarity is love for your future self. Let's talk about the prove you're mature trap. They'll try to frame your silence as immaturity so you'll break it to appear enlightened. That's the bait. Maturity isn't performance, it's restraint. It's the wisdom to know that engaging in a provocation to look mature is the most immature thing you can do. Real maturity pays attention to outcomes. Does replying now build trust? Does it restore respect? Does it protect peace? If the answer is no, silence is not petty, it's precise. It protects what you're building while refusing to re-enter what broke you. Another metaphor for the toolbox. Imagine your attention as a high-security airport. Provocations are unvetted luggage showing up at the gate. Old you opened every suitcase to prove you had nothing to hide. New you runs TSA, not cleared, not loaded. You don't need to unpack their feelings to validate your boundaries. You are not accustomed to other people's chaos. The hardest moment will be the perfectly tailored message, the one that uses your private language, your old ritual, your inside joke. It will feel like gravity. You'll hear the old story whisper, "This is special." This demands a response. Folks, special does not mean sovereign. Special without respect is a trick of memory. Ask the surgical question that ends illusions. If I reply, do I move closer to the life I'm building, or do I return to the loop I just escaped? Let your answer be your gatekeeper. And yes, keep a little humor in your pocket. When the classic "Who hurt you" appears, remember, boundaries trigger those who benefited from your lack of them. Smile privately. You don't need to clap back. You need to carry on. He who is brave is free, Seneca said. Bravery here isn't a speech. It's silence where the old you used to perform. Hold this line long enough and you'll watch the magic happen. Provocations taper, tests fail, and the few who can stand in real conversation, no games, no bait, will rise above the noise. That's the blessing baked into the boundary. The wrong attention gets filtered. The right attention learns your language. Consistency, timing, truth. Close this section the way you'll walk the next mile. Quiet, steady, proud of your restraint. Type your affirmation to lock the frame. I hold the frame. Stay with me. Next, we'll turn value recalibration into daily habits, so your life becomes harder to access and easy to respect. Number 4. Value recalibration. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Epictetus. My friends, this is the blueprint. Value recalibration begins the moment you answer that first clause with brutal honesty and then live the second clause with daily discipline. They once assumed your attention was an open tab. Now your life becomes a ledger. Scarcity isn't a stunt, it's the new accounting system. When access costs more, respect rises. When you invest energy into things that compound, your price changes without a speech. Imagine a blacksmith's forge at dawn. No audience, no applause, just heat, hammer, rhythm. Each strike makes the metal less like ore and more like a blade. That's your next 30 days. Heat from routine, hammer from restraint, rhythm from consistency. You are not announcing that you've changed. You are changing so consistently that announcements become unnecessary. The world feels the edge of the blade without you waving it around. Here's the truth most won't admit. Value isn't charisma, captions, or curated glimpses. Value is capacity. When you increase capacity, strength in the body, depth in the mind, steadiness in your schedule, your presence weighs more in every room you enter. People sense it like gravity. You don't perform gravitas, you earn mass. Marcus Aurelius said the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The urge to check, the itch to reply, the habit to haunt old timelines, those are the obstacles you turn into training. Each time you choose a set, a page, a deep work block over a scroll, the obstacle becomes your path. Let's walk through the recalibration in real life, not theory. Morning becomes a contract with yourself. Before you check anything, you check in. Water, breath, movement, sunlight, a single page where you write what you control today. Not paragraphs, promises. When the world measures you by your reactivity, you measure yourself by what you ship. In the afternoon, you carve out protected work time like a craftsman guards his bench. Interruptions go outside. Focus stays inside. In the evening, you close loops, laundry, dishes, finances, a small task you used to avoid, because strength isn't only deadlifts, it's doing what you said you'd do when nobody is clapping. Dress this recalibration in simplicity. Clean lines, clean schedule, clean words. Not flashy, but unmistakably deliberate. You don't chase attention, you embody signal. Think of a well-tuned instrument. Even a single note rings true. When they encounter you now, they meet coherence, your words, actions, boundaries, and calendar pointing in the same direction. That coherence is rare. Scarcity begins there, not on a story mute button. People cannot buy coherence with pressure. They must rise to meet it, or they bounce off it and call it cold. Let them bounce. Fear will visit. If I become harder to access, will they think I'm full of myself? If I stop being the 2 a.m. therapist, will I lose my place? If I say no, will I lose everyone? Folks, generosity without governance is not kindness, it's leakage. You're not becoming distant, you're becoming defined. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors with locks and hours. The right people knock, wait, and show respect. The wrong people rattle the handle and call you names. That's data, not destiny. Epictetus reminds us, what's up to you is enough. Your availability is up to you. Your standards are up to you. Your peace is up to you. Break a few common lies while we're here. Lie 1 says visibility equals value. No. Visibility without substance is a billboard for an empty store. Lie 2 says busyness equals importance. No. Busyness is noise. Importance is priority. Lie 3 says being easy to reach is the same as being reliable. No, reliability means when you do show up, it counts. On time, prepared, consistent. You can be selective and reliable at the same time. In fact, selectivity makes reliability possible. Use metaphor as a measuring tool. Picture your life as a port. Ships used to dock at all hours, cargo spilling, crews shouting, customs sleeping. Now the port sets hours, improves cranes, hires inspectors, and enforces manifests. Fewer ships, better cargo, higher tariffs, less theft. Revenue rises, chaos falls. That's value recalibration. Fewer conversations, richer substance, stronger outcomes. Or picture a garden that used to welcome every seed blown by wind. Pretty weeds, ugly weeds, thirsty weeds, everything grew and nothing truly flourished. Now the gardener prunes, composts, fences, waters on purpose. The garden isn't less alive. It's more alive because it's curated for growth. What about social presence? You don't vanish, you become intentional. Post-process, not performance. Share the book you finished, the mile you ran, the project you shipped, the meal you cooked with care. Quiet competence beats loud performance every year that ends in a number. Your goal isn't to prove you're thriving. Your goal is to actually thrive and let the evidence appear where it must, when it must, without begging anyone to applaud. Relationships recalibrate too. You stop rewarding intermittent attention with premium access. You stop explaining boundaries to people who benefit from you having none. You start noticing who leans in when you speak clearly and who vanishes when you stop offering free validation. The ones who stay when the confetti stops are your circle. The rest were spectators. Bless them, release them, and keep building. There will be days the old loop screams. That's expected. You don't cure cravings, you outgrow them. When the urge hits, transmute it. 10 deep breaths, a page of notes, a short walk, a set of squats, a glass of water, a text to a brother who sharpens you instead of a timeline that drains you. You're teaching your nervous system a new reflex. We move energy, we don't leak it. The first week feels like you're pushing a stalled car. The second week, the wheels catch. The third, momentum helps. By the fourth, you're steering. And then something subtle but unmistakable happens. They treat you differently, or they disappear. Both are wins. If they rise, they meet your terms. Consistency, respect, truth. If they fall away, you just saved months of ghost arguments and self-bargains. Scarcity did the sorting. Your job was to hold the frame long enough for reality to show its hand. We lock this section with a clear identity. You are recalibrating how the world reads your price by raising what you demand of yourself. Capacity over clout. Discipline over display. Signal over spectacle. You don't shout that you're rare. You live in a way that rarity becomes obvious. Value, like gravity, doesn't beg to be believed. It's felt. Type the affirmation to anchor it. I raise my value. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world. Stay with me. Next, we'll build emergency protocols, so if you must engage, you'll do it clean, brief, and impossible to misread. Number 5. Emergency protocols, if you must interact. Make the mind obey itself. Seneca. My friends, this is where discipline stops being poetry and becomes procedure. For 30 days you've treated attention like currency. Now we set the rule for rare exceptions. Emergencies exist: kids, safety, legal, property, medical. When necessity knocks, you don't break the frame to prove you're reasonable. You stay reasonable by keeping the frame. Emergency protocol means you engage without surrendering your peace, like a surgeon who steps into the room steady-handed, not sentimental. Picture a control tower in a storm. Lightning cracks, visibility drops, planes request priority landings. The tower doesn't panic or pontificate. It speaks in short, precise sentences that keep everyone alive. That's your voice now, calm, brief, exact. When contact truly requires you, you respond the way a pilot reads coordinates. No emojis, no inside jokes, no memory lane. You give only what the situation needs, and nothing your future self will have to clean up later. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply that like law. If a message isn't necessary, it isn't sent. If a word isn't necessary, it isn't written. Here's the backbone. Delay is your ally. The reflex to reply instantly is how old dynamics sneak back in. Unless safety is on the line in real time, you install a buffer. Breathe, stand up, drink water, step outside, and let the weather pass through you before you touch the keyboard. You are not a siren, you are a steward. 24 hours is not rudeness, it is quality control. In that pause, you decide what this is, logistics or allure. If it's logistics, you answer like a calendar would, received. Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. works. If it's allure disguised as logistics, you strip it down to facts and end the loop. Document signed. Pick up at the front desk by Tuesday. That's it. No dangling threads, no soft doorways, no "how have you been?" Curiosity traps. Curiosity is expensive. Clarity is cheap and powerful. Expect the bait to mix with the business. "You forgot my birthday, but can you drop the box? Hope you're well. What happened to us? Also the spare key?" Folks, 2 messages hid inside one sentence, a hook and a task. You only answer the task. "I'll leave the key with the concierge at 4 p.m. Period. They may escalate. Wow, cold. You still fly the plane. The tower doesn't argue with thunder about tone. You are not withholding kindness. You are refusing to subsidize chaos. Epictetus taught that freedom is obedience to the right things. In emergencies, you obey process, not provocation. Let's get painfully practical because this is where most people relapse. Keep your language airtight. State the action, time and place. Confirm once. Close the thread. If they attempt to reopen it with sentiment, silence does the filing. When you must acknowledge a change, do it like a new ticket, not a continuation of old drama. Updated time is Wednesday, 2 p.m. Same location. You are writing a log, not a love letter. You are building a record your future self would read without wincing. Imagine a judge reading your words out loud. Would you be proud of their precision? That's your bar. You may feel the urge to add nice to sound mature. Nice is fine, needless is not. A single thank you for compliance is enough. Avoid apologies for having standards. Avoid explanations for boundaries. Avoid just so you know paragraphs that smuggle emotion under the door. Boundary plus brevity equals respect for you and for the task. And if the line is crossed, insults, triangulation through mutuals, pressure disguised as urgency, you issue one clear consequence, then follow it. Calmly, contact me only for logistics. Further off-topic messages will be blocked. Then mean it. Mercy without memory invites the same fire. Humor helps you hold the line. You'll catch yourself drafting a TED Talk to explain why you've grown, why silence isn't spite, why you still wish them the best, why the moon looked particularly thoughtful last night. Delete it. TED didn't RSVP, logistics only. Think of your reply like a receipt. Item, amount, date, paid. No inspirational quotes belong on receipts. What about genuine human warmth? You can be human without becoming habitual. Warmth is in tone, not length. Understood. Not available. Pickup confirmed. Neutral is not cruel, it's clean. You'll be tempted to sprinkle nostalgia to ease tension. Nostalgia is a bridge back to the loop. Burn that bridge with dignity. If people want access to your softness, they pay with consistency over time, not clever phrasing today. If you share children or obligations, create routines that remove negotiation. The more you decide once, the less you bleed daily. Same drop-off window, same payment day, same communication channel, same emergency triggers. Decision fatigue is where old versions of you wake up. Structure is how the new version stays awake. A lighthouse isn't brave because it argues with waves. It's brave because it keeps hours in all weather. Fear will whisper, if I'm too short, I'll look heartless. You're not short, you're specific. You're not heartless, you're heart protective. There is a difference. Your value recalibration requires that difference. Imagine your life as a museum with climate control. Some artifacts can handle touch, others are behind glass. Emergency protocol means you decide which is which and you train everyone, including yourself, to respect the room. And if they accuse you of manipulation for being precise, manipulation is pretending. Precision is clarity. You are not pulling strings, you are cutting them. There is nothing to argue against when you only speak in facts. The drama addict will find that maddening. The adult will find it refreshing. Either way, the weather will pass and your peace will remain. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself, Marcus wrote. Strict here doesn't mean harsh, it means consistent. You are consistent with your protocol, so you can be tolerant with the unexpected. We end like we live, quiet and firm. Emergency protocol is not a loophole for your feelings. It's a firewall for your future. When necessity calls, you answer like a professional. Then you hang up the call inside your body. No replaying, no invisible arguments, no post-game paragraphs. You did what was required and kept what is sacred. That's the art. Type your affirmation to anchor it. Brief, neutral, final. Show them, show yourself, show the world, and stay with me. Next, we'll plan Day 31 re-entry options so you remain sovereign whether they return respectfully or the road stays quiet. Number 6. Day 31. Re-entry. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, Marcus Aurelius. My friends, day 31 is not a reunion, it's an audit. After 30 days of escrow, silence and structure, you're not returning to the old script, you're returning as the author. Re-entry is where many people stumble because they confuse access with progress, nostalgia with evidence, attention with respect. Not you. You will step across this line with a calm spine, a clear plan, and standards that don't blink. Start by telling yourself the quiet truth. Attention escrow wasn't a game you played on them, it was training you did for you. You didn't starve your phone, you fed your future. You didn't punish anyone, you protected your center. So re-entry isn't about announcing your growth with speeches, it's about living your growth with choices. Think of a pilot completing a long flight. Before anyone opens the cabin door, they run a checklist. Systems green, fuel sufficient, weather acceptable. Only then, disarm doors, cross-check, open. That's day 31. You don't open the door because someone knocks. You open because your checklist says the runway is safe. The first question is simple and brutal. Do you even want to reopen access? Many of you will discover that quiet is not empty, it's generous. You slept, you trained, you shipped work. You laughed without understanding. If peace grows roots, keep it. You owe nobody a grand reopening ceremony. Stoicism is allergic to sentimentality without substance. If your life expanded in their absence, honor the expansion. The rarest power is the power to leave the door closed without bitterness. If you decide to allow a measured re-entry, you set the rhythm and the structure. You don't return to the old 24/7 buffet. You open a restaurant with reservations. You answer when you choose, not when you're triggered. You discuss what builds, not what bleeds. You meet in bright places at bright hours. You speak in clear lines, not curved hints. This isn't cold, it's coherent. Coherence is what protects two people from ruins disguised as romance. And if anyone frames your coherence as cruelty, remember, boundaries only offend those who benefited from your lack of them. There will be a temptation to prove how mature you are by over-explaining your absence or over-giving your presence. Resist. Mature isn't performance, it's precision. Say little and match it exactly. I'm open to talk Friday at 5. Then be the person who arrives on time, leaves on time, and does not trade clarity for chemistry. Chemistry without character is fireworks over a dry forest. Beautiful, reckless, costly. Your 30 days were rain. Don't let one spark burn the new ground. If conversation happens, you listen with your eyes, not your nostalgia. You're scanning for 4 things only: responsibility, repair, rhythm, and reality. Responsibility, do they own choices without spin? Repair, are they offering actions, not adjectives? Rhythm, can they respect pacing without poking? Reality, are you two aligned on terms, or are you still negotiating your dignity? If any of these are missing, you don't argue. You downgrade access. This isn't punishment, it's procurement. Vendors without quality don't win contracts. Love is not exempt from common sense. Expect the old loop to whisper, reply faster, forgive quicker, fold your standards just this once. That whisper is a ghost with your voice. When it gets loud, breathe and borrow a line from Epictetus. No man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery here is the pause between their request and your response. In that pause, you ask the only question that matters. Does this move me closer to the life I am building, or back to the loop I already buried? If it's the loop, let the silence do the burying again. Some of you will choose a clean closure, no contact forward, no re-entry attempt, no recycled hope. That choice is not failure, it's fidelity to the future. Closure is a private act, not a performance. You can write a letter you never send, list the lessons you'll keep, bless the past without booking a return ticket, and walk on. The ego craves dramatic endings. The spirit prefers finished ones. Finish well. Re-entry also includes re-entry to yourself. You guard the habits that carried you through the 30 days. You don't hand back the hours you won. You keep the morning page, the training block, the focused work, the quiet evening. You remain a lighthouse. Ships will keep passing. Some will signal respect. Some will flash chaos. Your light doesn't flicker to match them. It holds, and in holding, it tells the truth. Access to me is earned by honesty, consistency, and peace. Everything else is weather, and weather passes. Let me give you a final picture. Imagine your attention as a priceless instrument, say a Stradivarius violin stored for a month while it's restored. Day 31 isn't the moment you hand it to the first stranger who asks to play. Day 31 is the moment you decide who has the skill, steadiness, and reverence to touch it, and you keep it in the case around anyone who doesn't. That's not arrogance, that's stewardship. You are not hard to love, you are hard to misuse. There's a difference, and your 30 days taught you to honor it. If they return respectfully, you won't be dazzled, you'll be diligent. If they don't return, you won't be hollow, you'll be whole. Either way, you win because you stopped gambling your life on other people's pings and started investing it in your own gravity. That's dark stoicism at work. Less performance, more principle. Less chasing, more choosing. Less noise, more knowing. We close where we began. Disciplined, direct, and free. If this series puts steel in your spine and calm in your chest, do 2 things right now to help this message reach the ones who need it. Press like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with the friend who's ready to escrow their attention and reclaim their peace. Drop your final affirmation in the comments to lock it in. I choose sovereignty. Stay with me. We're just getting started.